Personal Development, Module 5, Developmental Tasks and Challenges of Adolescence. Hello, grade 12 learners. Are you ready? In this module, you will make a list, identify, and categorize some actions of an adolescent. Also, in this module, we will discuss about the developmental tasks and challenges of a person. Just relax and enjoy the activities. Have fun! The objective of this module is for you to be able to discuss developmental tasks and challenges being experienced during adolescence. So for our first activity, we have the pre-test. Okay, so the direction says on your journal, put MLBB or Mobile Legends Bang Bang if the sentence states fact. Then put LOL or League of Legends if the sentence stated bluff. Number 1. The adolescence is the phase of achieving mature relations with both sexes. Number 2, early adulthood is learning to live with a partner. Number 3, in the middle of childhood, one of the developmental tasks is adjusting to aging parenthood. Number 4, the passage to adulthood is to accept the challenges of the stage of adolescence. And number 5, late maturity is acquiring values and an ethical system to guiding behavior. Let's proceed to some vocabulary words and its meaning. Okay, first we have task. Task is a usually assigned piece of work, often to be finished within a certain time. Social responsibility is an ethical framework and suggests that an individual has an obligation to act for the benefit of society at large. Then we also have lifespan. This is the average length of life of a kind organism or of a material object, especially in a particular environment or under specified circumstances. Now let's proceed to activity 1, which is entitled Achievements. Check the tasks that you think you have already finished as an adolescent. Okay, so your stage now is adolescence because the age interval of adolescence is from 13 to 18 years old. So that is after puberty. Now when you go to 18 and up, then you are now called young adults. Okay, so for now you are an adolescent. Okay, you're going to check whether you have achieved or finished the task, such as number 1, achieving mature relations with both sexes, achieving a masculine or feminine social role, accepting one's physique or physical appearance or attributes, achieving emotional independence of adults, preparing for marriage and family life. We also have preparing for an economic career or work or job. Then acquiring values and an ethical system to guide behavior. And last but not the least, desiring and achieving socially acceptable behavior. After answering activity 1 achievements, then we proceed to processing questions. Okay, so processing questions are important so that you can be able to understand more yourself, to dig more. Processing questions gives you awareness, okay, engagement, and understanding of yourself and other people. Processing question number 1 is, being in grade 11 or 12, what are the tasks expected of you? Rate yourself from 1 to 10, 10 as the highest. Then number 2, as you are in grade 11 or grade 12, you are in the stage of transition, right? From high school to college, from being an adolescent to young adult. How do you feel about this transition? What is your turning point? Do you think you are ready in this transition, which may mean more responsibilities and greater accountability? If no, what are the expected tasks you need to work on? If yes, what are the ways so you can better plan for the future? Then we have activity 2, complicated. From activity 1, what are the tasks where you experience hardships or you feel challenging. Then you're going to explain why. Here's now the processing question for activity 2, complicated. Okay, question number 1. Why do you think that you experience difficulties in facing the developmental task? As grade 11 or 12, you have encountered those challenges, right? How was it? How do you feel about these challenges? And number 3, do you think that you can surpass those tasks even though there are difficulties? If yes, what can you do to surpass it? And if no, what are the ways so that you can obtain success? Thank you very much, my dear students, for answering the different activities on this module. Okay, so those activities are aligned to our new topic, which is developmental task. Now, according to Havighurst, developmental tasks are tasks which arises at or about a certain period in the life of the individual. Successful achievement of which leads to happiness and to success with later task, while failure in achieving the different developmental tasks leads to unhappiness and difficulty with later task. As I've said, developmental task is one that arises predictably and consistently at or about a certain period in the life of the individual. That is according to Havighurst 1948. So the concept of developmental task assumes that human development in modern societies is characterized by a long series of tasks that individuals have to learn throughout their lives. Some of these tasks are located in childhood and adolescence, as others arise during adulthood and old age. Successful achievement of a certain task is expected to lead to happiness and to success with later tasks, while failure may result in unhappiness individual, disapproval by the society, and difficulty with later tasks. Now, developmental tasks arise from three different sources. First, some are mainly based on physical maturation, such as learning to walk. The second source of developmental task involves personal values and aspirations. These personal factors result from the interaction between the ontogenetic and environmental factors and play an important role in the emergence of specific developmental tasks, such as choosing a certain occupational pathway. The third source of developmental task relates to socio-structural and cultural forces. Such influences are based on, for instance, laws and culturally shared expectations of development, such as age norms, determining the age range in which a specific developmental task has to be mastered. Developmental tasks are essential for their emotional growth and increasing maturity. The degree to which parents support or thwart this process partly determines how emotionally healthy their children will be. Why is knowing developmental tasks at every stage is important? Number one, it helps you to parent in ways that are more rewarding for you and more supportive of them. Second, it helps you to be more tolerant and patient and not take their behavior personally. And third, rather than blaming yourself or your children for behavior that may be frustrating yet developmentally driven, you can think about ways to respond that affirm them for practicing or mastering their developmental tasks and help you to cope with these challenging norms. Now, if Santrak has his stages of development, Havighurst also has age periods of development, and that is from infancy and early childhood, which is birth to 5 years, middle childhood 6 to 12 years, adolescence 13 to 17 years, early adulthood 18 to 35 years, middle age 36 to 60 years, and for later maturity that is over 60 years. Human development focuses on human growth and changes across the lifespan, including physical, cognitive, social, intellectual, perceptual, personality, and emotional growth. The study of human developmental stages is essential to understanding how human learns, matures, and adapts. Throughout their lives, humans go through various stages of development. The human being is either in a state of growth or decline, but either condition imparts change. Some aspects of our life change very little over time, are consistent. Other aspects change dramatically. By understanding these changes, we can better respond and plan ahead effectively. Now go to the different developmental tasks in infancy and early childhood, aging from 0 to 6. So the different developmental tasks includes learning to walk, learning to crawl, learning to take solid food, learning to talk, learning to control the elimination of body waste, learning sex differences and sexual modesty, getting ready to read, and forming concepts and learning language to describe social and physical reality. The different developmental tasks in middle childhood includes learning physical skills necessary for ordinary games, learning to get along with age mates, building wholesome attitudes toward oneself as a growing organism, learning on appropriate masculine or feminine social role, developing concepts necessary for everyday living, developing conscience, morality, and the scale of values, achieving personal independence, and developing attitudes toward social groups and institutions. Now, here are the different developmental tasks that you need to achieve in your age. Achieving new and more mature relations with age mates of both sexes, achieving a masculine or feminine social role, accepting one's physique and using the body effectively, achieving emotional independence of parents and other adults, preparing for marriage and family life, acquiring a set of values and an ethical system as a guide to behavior, and desiring and achieving socially responsible behavior. Early adulthood developmental task: selecting a mate, learning to live with a partner, starting family, rearing children, managing home, getting started in occupation, taking on civic responsibility, and finding a conjugal social group. The developmental task in middle ages, aging from 30 through 60 years, includes assisting teenage children to become responsible and happy adults, achieving adult social and civic responsibility, reaching and maintaining satisfactory performance in one's occupational career, developing adult leisure time activities, relating oneself to one's spouse as a person, to accept and adjust to the physiological changes of middle age, and adjusting to aging parents. Later maturity or old age is aging from 60 and over, and these are the developmental tasks under this stage. We have adjusting to decreasing physical strength and health, adjusting to retirement and reduced income, adjusting to death of a spouse, establishing an explicit affiliation with one's age group, adopting and adapting social roles in a flexible way, and establishing satisfactory physical living arrangements. The developmental task theory of Robert J. Havighurst elaborated in the most systematic and extensive manner. His main assertion is that development is continuous throughout the entire lifespan, occurring in stages where the individual moves from one stage to next by means of successful resolution of problems or performance of developmental tasks. According to Havighurst, at the stage of adolescence, you must achieve and prepare the adulthood stage. He emphasizes that an adolescent must already achieve mature relations with both sexes, masculine or feminine social role, accepting one's physique, achieving emotional independence of adults, preparing for marriage and family life and for an academic career, and for an economic career, acquiring values and an ethical system to guide behavior, desiring and achieving social responsible behavior. All of these are the transition of an adolescent. These are also the activity that were given. Remember? On your activity 1, you are being asked to check the task that you think you had already finished or completed, while on activity 2 are the tasks you have experienced difficulties and felt challenging as an adolescent. The question is, how can an adolescent achieve those developmental tasks if he or she is facing challenges in life? Let's enumerate some risk factors of an adolescent. It includes drugs, alcohol, unsafe sex, teenage pregnancy and parenting, school underachievement, failure and dropout, delinquency, crime, and violence. Age bracket of adolescence starts with early adolescence, middle adolescence, and late adolescence. So you can see the age interval in the different age bracket of adolescence. Now, according to Feast and Rosenberg 2012, pegged adolescents at age 11 or 12 and late adolescents at about age 18. Hence, in America, a child is usually out of the house by the age 18 because this is the age on how they define young adulthood. I have also included Erikson's 8 stages of personality development. So Erikson's 8 stages of personality development define each stage of human development with a crisis or a conflict. Each crisis or conflict either gets resolved or may be left unresolved, resulting in favorable or unfavorable outcomes. Here's a table of Erikson's psychosocial crisis stages. You can also see Freudian psychosexual stages. The psychosocial crisis in your stage is identity versus role confusion. And the life stage relationship or issues involves peer group, peers, groups, influences, and the issue is on resolving identity and direction, becoming a grown up, and the basic virtue and second name strength, and the potential positive outcomes from each stage or from your stage is fidelity and devotion, and the maladaptation or malignancy, which means potential negative outcome, one or the other, from unhelpful experience during each crisis, is fanaticism and repudiation. Here is an illustration of Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. And in your stage, as I've said a while ago, the crisis that you're experiencing is under stage 6, intimacy versus isolation. Can I love? So that's the question. So we now go to adolescence, identity versus role confusion. This is according to the psychosocial crisis of Erikson, if you can remember. Now, when we speak of identity, it is the concept of an individual about himself and is often referred to as self-identity, molded through various interactive experiences around himself, such as their family and community, and his responses in terms of thinking, attitude, and behavior to external stimuli. It is a self-belief that the individual thinks and feels about himself. Roles often form part of this self-identity, such as birth order in the family, the nature of work, occupation or title, and academic and social standing. And when we speak of role confusion, this is the negation of self-identity in the sense that there is confusion over one's self-concept or the absence or lack of such a concept. Changes during adolescence includes physiological transitioning due to hormonal changes. Brain continues to develop, and that is what we call cognitive growth. Belief starts to evolve,
So you begin to have your beliefs on politics, religion, and morality. Idealism, reckless behavior, experimentation due to your search of your identity and individuality, socializing among male and female adolescents, and sexual experimentation. According to Corpus et al., there are developmental tasks a Filipino adolescent needs to learn. And it consists in developing occupational skills, which are skills that can help the adolescent develop responsibility as a preparation for gainful employment ahead. Self-reliance, or the ability to identify their own skills and knowledge, capabilities, and resources to engage in meaningful activities and not rely too much on others. The ability to manage their finances and recognize or distinguish the difference between wants and needs. Social responsibility, mature work orientation, personal responsibility, and positive attitude toward work. Here are also additional developmental tasks: being courageous in standing up and being different from your friends, developing self-esteem, being true to yourself and avoiding the tendency to please others, learning how media and advertising are trying to influence your thinking and feelings, becoming aware, critical, and being involved with social issues, embracing a healthy lifestyle, and developing your spirituality. Brief summary of the most significant developmental issues that an adolescent face. This is according to Jeffrey C. Miller. So, number one is physical transformation. Probably the most obvious changes are physical. The teenager or adolescent is literally transforming from a child to an adult physically. A transformation that is disorienting to both the teenage and for everyone around him or her. Number two most significant developmental issues involves sexual development. Teenagers or adolescents witness the emergence of sexuality with all of its hormonal changes, all of its ups and downs, and all of its complications. The third most significant developmental issue that an adolescent faces is separation from parents. It is on a crash course of how to live life with primary dependence on him or her rather than being guided, taught, and supported by parents. The fourth significant developmental issue is identity versus role confusion. With growing independence comes the whole challenge of a teenager or an adolescent learning who he or she is and what role he or she will be playing in the world regarding friends, family, jobs, etc. Social issues, group identity versus individuality. With growing adulthood comes the challenge of learning what groups and communities a person wants to be part of and how those groups and communities impart their own sense of individuality. We also have growing responsibility. A substantial challenge for a teenager or an adolescent is learning to bear the personal responsibility of living a healthy, productive, compassionate, and caring adult life. These are some of the developmental challenges facing by an adolescent. There are many challenges, but these things will help you a lot to overcome some of those most significant challenges of an adolescent or a teenager. Now you know why some teenager or adolescent can face a developmental task. It is because of these challenges. It is up to you, my dear learners. You are the one who can overcome those challenges. Now that you have learned more about the developmental task and the challenges of an adolescent, it is not easy, is it? Being an adult is so challenging. Before you can say that you have already done the developmental task, you must face first the challenges of being adolescent. It is time to shine, learners. Write your own experiences about the challenges you've met, how you overcome it, and how you were able to achieve the developmental task. Congratulations, my dear learners. Now we go to our post-test. Read the statements, put a smiley face if it is correct, put sad face if it is wrong. Write your answers in your journal notebook. So number one, the adolescent stage is a phase of change and transitions. Number two, the developmental task will help the teenager to face the challenges of life. Number three, one of the challenges of an adolescent is to achieve mature relations of both sexes. And fourth, acquiring values and an ethical system to guide behavior is part of developmental task. Number five, teenage pregnancy and teenage parenting are one of the challenges of an adolescent. Number six, unsafe sex is one of the risk factors of an adolescent. Number seven, an adolescent must accept physical transformation. Number eight, later maturity is a preparation for marriage and family life. Number nine, adolescence is a preparation for an economic career. Number 10, separation from parents is one of the common challenges in adolescence. On your journal, write your realization about the developmental challenges so that you can pursue to the developmental task. Thank you, my dear learners, for bearing with me in Module 5, Developmental Tasks and Challenges of an Adolescent. I hope you have learned a lot from our topic for today. And of course, we also want to recognize the development team of the module. Thank you, my dear students, for listening. This is Ma'am Neri, and if you have questions or suggestions, you may also comment down below